the Next Level on Purpose podcast with Joanne Muturi. This is a podcast for trailblazing professional women who are feeling disillusioned in their 9 to 5s and are looking for so much more because they know they were created for so much more. Today, I am very excited because I have a trailblazing professional woman who was created for so much more. And I am so excited to bring my amazing guest. Without much ado, I'm going to introduce her. Alice is a very special person to me, but I want you to know who she is before we go into the nitty-gritties. Alice, can I introduce you?
Yes, please. I'm so excited to be here.
Exciting. So, who is Alice? Alice Michira is a financial literacy and economic empowerment enthusiast. Prior to starting her own business consulting company, Mwangaza Africa Consultants, Alice was a service quality and compliance manager at the Kenya Commercial Bank Group Advantage Banking, Karen. She's currently coordinating projects at NILAB Accelerator Limited. Her areas of expertise include and are not limited to client experience, risk and compliance, crisis management and recovery planning, financial management and entrepreneurship, resource mobilization. Alice is an economist from the University of Nairobi, and she's a certified trainer on crisis management and recovery planning by the International Trade Center, ITC. She is passionate, and I know this extremely passionate, about empowering youth and women for a sustainable future and creating a safe environment for young children to thrive. Alice is currently a mentor and a facilitator for a number of programs. Women Biz 360 by 1 Million Startups Organization, Academy for Women Entrepreneurs by the US Embassy, Imarisha program by Mowgli, Emerging Leaders program by Emerging Leaders Foundation. She also serves as a board financial advisor for the Sanctuary of Treasures, an investor group and system hub, a leading technology company. Alice Michira brings a wealth of experience. She has earned a reputation of providing skilled and practical business insights as a consultant. Just that CV alone can make me end the podcast.
Oh.
However, we have not even started. We have not even started because everything that I have just read out depicts the woman that Alice is. And I could talk on her behalf, but the reason she's here is so that we can be able to get to know her a little better. Alice, I want to take us back. I want to take us back to the year 2016 when we met. Mm-hmm. And I want you, Alice, to give me a bit of background, or to give our listeners as well a bit of background as to where your journey started. Where did we meet? And in what capacity did we meet before we get into the juice, the meat and potatoes of our conversation?
Thank you so much, Joanne. It's always a pleasure interacting with you. You're such an amazing coach. So if you're going back to 2016, at that point, I was at the helm of my career in corporate. I was in banking in Karen. Karen, for those who don't know, Nairobi, Karen is a suburb in Kenya, in the capital city. And I was serving the influential, the wealthy people, but I was empty. And at that point in my career and in my life, I needed to change something. I had no idea what needed to change, but I knew there's an emptiness I need to feel. And with the corporate banking career, the pressure of the day-to-day, I reached out to one of my clients who happens to have known Joanne. And I was just sharing, and the client recommended Joanne as a life coach. And he was like, I think the way you help us going out of your way to serve us. You would do more if you would work with a coach to enable you understand your journey or clarify what your journey is, so that as you go along, whether you'll continue in corporate or not, you have some kind of fulfillment in your life. And so this young gentleman introduced me to Joanne, and that's how we met with Joanne. We started our journey, slowly understanding myself, understanding what am I interested in doing, what drives me, clearing the gray areas in my life, what fulfills me. And long story short, after I think it was like 3 months of coaching, I was able to identify what is my key purpose in life. Well, who do I want to serve? And the people I really wanted to serve for me was youth and women. Because of youth, I want to change the future and how the future will look like. And then for women, I want to impact women with the information that I have, the experience, the expertise, the networks, so that they change the societies. I believe if you change one woman, you're changing a community. So, and with that, our journey of coaching started, and here I am today. The CV Joanne read, I was like, is that me? But,
That
yes.
is you.
Yes.
That is what is called the next level on purpose. And that's what our podcast is about.
Mhm.
And Alice, we speak to the disillusioned corporate woman. She's a trailblazer. She's achieved so many things in the corporate space. But like you said, she has a sense of emptiness. She
Yes.
feels there's something inside of her that is craving for more. Can you talk a little about what that emptiness felt like to you?
On a personal level, I think for me, at that moment, from other people's perspective, I was successful. I was a woman. I was a manager. I was at the helm of my career. I was serving whoever you dream of serving when you come into Kenya. But internally, I was feeling, okay, I've achieved all these things, but there's still, I think I can do more. And my disillusionment was, if I'm to go out and do business, because in the bank I was exposed to extreme different kinds of business and how they work. In my career in education, I've done economics, so I understand. But then which particular area would I go into and not feel like I'm working? Because I wanted to do something that is coming from within. And I'm not being pushed. I'm not doing it just for money. I'm doing it and I'm feeling fulfilled. And I'm not saying
I
that my
love
banking
that,
career was
Alice.
not fulfilling. I was paid well. I had allowances and everything, but it's that emptiness I'm talking about. And then trying to look at, you're a mother, you have a family, you have no time to be home with your family because the career is so demanding. And for me, family is at the core. And that was one of the areas that really kept on feeling like it's being drained. And so I think fixing my intentionality and my desire, understanding and clarifying, what do I want? I want time to spend with my children in the morning. I want time to be home before they sleep. I want to raise my children. I don't want to hand them over to house helps. I also want to do business, or I want to make money, but I want to make it on my terms. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And now getting clarity on which path do I go so that I get these things that are so dear to me. That's why I needed a coach. That was my gray area. Yeah.
So from what I'm getting from you is that your gray area was literally, now that I am going to be transitioning into my next step, I need to know what that looks like, and I want it to be completely in line with my values.
Yes.
And one of your critical values is family, right?
Yes.
What I'd like to speak to you, Alice, is, during this period of coaching and mentorship, what came out very clearly to you as your next steps? How did you how did you decide that and I want you to talk also to the fear that
Mm.
in spite of the anxiety, because this was a completely new terrain, right?
Yes,
It
yes,
was a completely new environment for you, moving from corporate into entrepreneurship.
yes,
What are some of the things that you got through coaching that really forged that confidence for you to move ahead? Would you like to share that with us?
yes. What coaching did for me is two things. The first thing
Mm-hmm.
is it was able to, working with you, I was able to look at my life holistically. Okay.
Yes.
Not from a lens of she's a banker or she's a wife or she's a mother. It was a 360 look at my life. And then sitting down and having a meeting with myself and clarifying for every aspect, whether it's health, whether it's family, whether it's love, whether it's money, whether it's career growth or business, whatever aspect of my life, what are the key non-negotiables for me? What is it that I won't sign up for going forward? So even if I'm going into business, how do I want my business world to look like? What is it that I'll say no to, even if it means losing money or losing an opportunity? So coaching clarified what that is for me. And my non-negotiables, I know in coaching you're calling them values. You're calling it what are your key, like what are your key
Your essential qualities. We
essential
call them
calling?
essential qualities.
Yes.
Yes.
What is it that you're called to do on earth? Yeah. What is it that you can
Yes.
do without being paid? And I
Mm.
keep and I keep, like the people I talk to, I keep telling them, not everything I do I get paid, but I'm so fulfilled
Yes.
doing it. And that was my hunger, that was
Mm.
my desire. Yeah. So you, other
Yes.
than clarifying the values, it also gave me a true north. Like this is where I'm going.
Mhm.
I'm not going this way. I'm not going this way. Whichever distraction comes, I always go back to, okay, what is my goal in the next 5 years? Where am I going? And this particular thing packaged as an opportunity, is it for me? Is it taking me there? If it's not, then I'm not interested. That clarity for me has worked. And it's difficult to find that clarity without somebody holding your hand and holding you accountable to what you desire and trying to bring it out from you, because it's hidden somewhere inside in your subconscious or somewhere, so that you can easily articulate it and say, I'm passionate about this and this. I'm going to do this. I don't want this kind of a job. I want this kind of freedom. By the time you get there, you need somebody who's clear in their purpose in life to guide you to get there.
Mm.
And that someone, of course,
How
is you.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Alice. I feel so honored and so proud, to have walked that journey with you. And looking at where you're at right now, I'd want to speak a little bit into that. That was
Mm-hmm.
in the year 2016. We are in the year 2021. Please
Mm-hmm.
bring us to speed where you are right now. It's 5 years later, right? And I
Yes.
just want our audience, I want our listeners to hear, where is Alice right now?
Okay, so 2016, maybe just to give history, by the time I was leaving the bank, I think I left at the worst possible moment because we were in an election year and then we went into another second election because the elections were disputed. So we had a gap of around 8 months of no entrepreneurship activities happening.
Ooh.
Yes. And that is the time I left the bank. So, of course, every plan I had put, every business plan, every idea needed to be changed to adopt to the crisis that I found myself in. And I remember um, part of what kept me going was the reality check of every single time meeting with you as my coach at that moment and telling you, okay, I left the bank. I'm trying to do this business of consultancy. However, with the situation right now in the country, business is almost impossible. We are focusing on elections. It's been 8 months. What else can I do? And you guiding me on how to create my brand. At this moment
Mm.
when it's low, this is when you put content out. This is when you start structuring how do you want your trainings to look like? Are they going to be group trainings? How much do you charge? Who are you targeting? That clarity moment and trying to package myself and keep on talking about whatever it is that you're doing helped me a lot because I was able to get some programs to do while I'm waiting to launch my business. And through those networks, I've been able so far to get to where I am today, where I'm supporting different nonprofit organizations that are supporting either youth or women. And my role there is to upskill them with business skills, credit, upskill them with financial literacy, because that is not taught in school, so that people know how do I manage my money? How do I plan? How do I invest? Where should I invest? And then bringing the expertise I have from the bank so that I'm also able to help them navigate the debt arena where you're leveraging debt and you're making use of debt to create wealth instead of not being aware what to do, and then you end up in a debt hole. So where I am right now, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, because over the years I've been able to serve quite a number of youth, quite a number of women, and seeing them transform and change the lives of those around them really is fulfilling. I wish there were
That
more
is
people. There were more people to do and serve with the skills that they have, so that they change society.
exactly. And that's why this Next Level on Purpose podcast is here to support women to understand that there's so many areas that we can leverage on if
Mhm.
only we give ourselves permission to do the work. Alice,
Yes.
I want to talk to you about what you just shared about adaptability in times of crisis. You did
Yes.
mention that when you left the bank, election year, no money coming in for the first 8 months. And I can imagine how much anxiety was probably creeping up to you. And I
Mm,
know that you came out on the other side so much stronger. Would you
yeah.
want to talk to us a little about how some of the techniques that you use to adapt in times of crisis?
Um, I would say every so often it's important to have a routine of evaluating your surrounding and evaluating your plans, so that you have a
Mm,
working, iterating plan in life.
mm,
So
mm,
you have a plan and you're saying in the next 1 month I'm going to do 4 adverts, one advert a week. I'll target this particular kind of client, and then I'll attend one networking event, then I'll do this. So it's very clear when you're planning. But when you hit the ground and there's a crisis, whether it's a terror attack or it's politics or whatever it is that will happen, or it's COVID, we've locked down, and we're not moving, so you have no engagements, no networking events to go to. What is it that you can do to still send the message out there and serve your customer? So being ready to learn new ways of doing business is critical. Being
mm,
ready to work with people who are already doing it, collaborate with people. There's probably somebody who's very good in technology or very good in social media, and you are not aware what is social media because you are doing your business manually wherever you are. Now you need to adapt to it because probably your customers are online. Then partner with somebody who's very good at it, they're passionate at it, agree on the terms of your engagement, and then try out, see how will it work for your business. Because in business it's all about trying new things, changing new in how you're doing things, and then it works. It works. But the only thing
I-
that is very constant in a crisis is change. You have to change everything. Anytime you're facing a crisis,
yes.
you need to keep changing. Change your process, change your ideal targeting uh, ideas, change how you're approaching customers, change how you're appreciating your customers, change. Just keep changing, keep learning, keep growing.
The most important thing in crisis is change. ladies and gentlemen, that is a tweetable by the lovely Alice Michira. Alice, we better tweet that, right? That the most
Yes.
important thing in times of crisis is change. And as we continue with this conversation, I'd want to talk a little about what has made you most proud to date. What are you really proud of right now that you can say that this has made me proud? And this could be in your personal life, this could be in your business. Just speak to us about that.
Okay. What has made me proud? I think
Yes.
I'm proud of who I've become.
Mm,
I am proud of how I am with the people around me. I'm proud
yes.
that I'm intentional. I'm
Mm,
very intentional in everything that I do. I'm proud of my little tiny steps. I'm proud of that. I the fact that I hold myself to account and I didn't give up and I pushed through and I'm still here today with, of course, divine intervention and prayer and God coming through, but also just putting my foot forward, knocking doors that people don't dare to knock, showing up. The other week, we just decided we're doing a conference in 2 weeks. We said, let's go and knock at the minister's door. And we went without an appointment. We knocked. We said, we want to do this for the youth. We know you have a budget. How much are you paying for the youth? How much are you sponsoring? And he was very shocked. He was like, we need more people like you to be coming and saying, this is your mandate. We are doing it for you. How do we partner? So it's waking up, pushing yourself and daring to be present. Yeah,
mm.
it's that energy and confidence to become. That's what I'm proud about.
I love that. The becoming. And as you've spoken, you've made me realize that the statement, there's a quote that says something like, fortune favors the brave, right?
Yes, yes,
Knocking on doors that
yes,
nobody else will dare, right? And
yes,
one of the things that I have created around my own brand, as you may know, is dare to mean that you dream audaciously and you receive
yes,
expectantly. Dare,
yes.
dream audaciously, receive expectantly. And every time you take that brave step, however
Mm,
scary it is leading
mm,
you closer and closer to your next level. At least I
yes.
want to take you back a little. When you were speaking, something came to my mind, and it is when you're leaving your corporate job.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are very unaware that there are some skills that you gathered in your corporate job that are
Mm,
called the transferable skills. They're skills that you got when you were in your banking career that are
mm-hmm.
now very relevant in your
In
current
business.
calling in
Yes.
business. Please share
Mm,
with us some of the transferable skills that you've been able to take with you, because most people are like, oh, I don't think I'm going to carry anything from my corporate job. What a waste this will be. And I want
I
you
know.
to debunk that myth. I want you to just show us that there are skills that you carried with you from
Mm,
your corporate to your entrepreneurial life now that
mm-hmm.
are really helping you move forward. Please share with us some of these.
Okay, first I'll start with, for anybody who is in corporate, you are so blessed. You have no idea. Most of the people who've never worked in a corporate organization or in any kind of formal workspace, they lack the orderness of how things should be done. And when you come into the entrepreneurship or the business world, there's a lot of haphazardness in how people do things. They don't think, plan, and then execute. They run. And then when they get in the middle, they realize, oh my goodness, I should have considered this. Then they go back. So when you're coming from an organization or a company that has procedures and it has rules and it has operation guidelines, they might seem stringent when you're working there, but when you get to your company, however small it is those key things that you'll find yourself putting in place that will differentiate you from any other person doing business. I'm sharing this because the same quality of service I was offering my customers in the bank, the same documentation I needed them to sign. I need you to sign here so that we can move money. I need you to sign for me, send me email instructions so that I can execute. It's the same order I brought to my business. So before I engage you as a client, I need you to sign an NDA. I need you to sign a contract. And then if you're to pay me, wire money into an account, so that I am not caught in between trying to remember, did you give me cash? Did you send M-Pesa? What exactly happened in between? And professionalizing my business has really made it so easy for others to refer me, because I get a lot of referrals when someone is saying, I need a consultant, or I need somebody to do a paper for me, or to do a business analysis for me. Then they're told, why don't you work with Alice? Why are you getting frustrated? You have conversations with your consultant on phone and they keep forgetting, because I'll document everything. That's how I was wired to operate. Yeah. So in business, documentation helps, so that at the point where a client is declining giving you instructions, or they're disputing to pay, you have a track record.
Yes.
So if you need to litigize it and seek legal counsel, you already have documentation that will enable your lawyer to work with. If you need to set up a business, for example, in a marketplace or a place that is a bit high risky, then you needed to consult an insurance advisor earlier before you set up, so that they tell you, in this area, you need a cover for this. And then probably this place normally has fires, so you need to cover this. And once you take that protection, when it happens, you have a cushion. So you're not that business person who shows up, starts doing business, and then you're caught with one bad morning and you're done. No, it's those key things that in corporate entities and in most businesses that are very structured, they have insurance, they have a legal department, or at least they outsource legal advice. They have an auditor or an accountant who looks at their books. So they never have really unnecessary tax issues running away from the regulators. You need this kind of things, even if you're running a small business. You need to find a network of people who can advise you and guide you, so that you're doing business in an orderly way, in a peaceful, mentally satisfying way. Yeah. So that you're not always fearing the regulator is going to come. I'm going to be caught. In Kenya, now people are scared of KRA. KRA is our tax
regulator.
Body. Yes. So people are like, oh my God, they've introduced the new tax. I'm not too sure I'm supposed to pay, but they're not willing to find out. And we have so many auditors around who can easily guide you and sort your accounts properly for you, so that you pay whatever season needs to get paid, and you're okay, and you do your business. So those are the key things I'd say I moved. And then, of course, the customer service, serving customers well, giving them a good experience, and making them feel valued, wanted, cared for, and listened to. That is exceptional.
Alice, I'm so proud of you, because what especially you having been my very first client at the beginning, and seeing that you've implemented so many things that are important in a business. Most people do not understand the importance of systems and processes. You work in an organization and you have SOPs, right? You have standard operating procedures. And people take those things as you said, oh, why are they making these things so difficult? But now when you've moved into your own business, you've seen how easy it is for you, because you understand the need for compliance. You understand the need for NDAs. You see the importance of customer service. For me, having worked just like you in the bank, we have so many similarities, right? I think one of the most essential things I took just like you is the importance of customer service, because a delighted customer is the best customer you can ever have, because they will refer you over and over and over again. And then you also talked into the importance of operating in an ethical way, giving to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, having contracts. And when all these things are put together, we could have a whole podcast, and I'm sure we can do this in future, Alice, so we can talk about some of these important things to lay down, the
Yeah.
legal pieces and all this. And
Mm.
and when you have all these things structured and laid out, what
Mm.
you're doing is creating for yourself a business that will scale.
Yes.
A business that if Alice decided to walk out today and sell it, she will sell it for millions of shillings, because
Yes.
the structures are already in place, and the buyer or the person who is coming to take over, all they need to do is being told this is what has been happening, and the transition or the takeover will be extremely smooth.
Yeah.
So I would want to encourage all entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, to really take a note of what we've just shared, because that is some serious, valuable information that Alice has shared with us. Alice, I want to hear from you. What are some of the practices that you put in, um, just in your day to day? Like, perhaps is it a morning routine that you have? What are some things that you put in that are not necessarily business oriented, that give you the motivation and the psych, right, to keep going? For example, for me, every so often in between my day, Alice, I go for a walk. Even if it's for half an hour in between my day, sometimes I'll just go sit with my computer in a coffee shop, grab a book for 45 minutes in my own little world. And that really gives me so much joy as I run my business, right? What are some of the things that you incorporate into your life that make your business so much more juicier, so much more exciting every day?
Okay. Wow. So I I always keep saying that I was privileged to meet you when you were starting your coaching, because
Yes.
I feel like you outpoured yourself into me, and some things you taught me, they might have not even been part of the course or part of the coaching program, but it's also because I was hungry. I was too hungry. I
Yes.
needed to absorb. So there's one thing that it's like you unlocked a bulb of how do I remain productive? How do people actually become productive? So you shared some principles around chunking out time, yeah, and silencing your world so that you can focus and work.
Yes.
And I remember, I think it was called the Pareto principle, or it's the 80-20
Yes.
rule. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm trying
You're
to
right.
remember.
Yes.
But
Yes.
how I took it, for me, it meant looking at my life. I have every single day 24 hours. So I need at least a minimum of 6 hours of sleep. And I told myself, I need to go to bed to sleep when I am tired, not when I'm looking for sleep, because that's wasting time. I need to go to
Yes.
bed to sleep, meaning at least in 1 hour's time, I should have slept. Yeah. So in my structure of time, I've divided my day into 24 hours, and then I go to bed between 9 p.m. and 3, around 3. And then I'm awake. So once I wake up at 3, I do my morning prayer, and then I journal. I do my gratitude list. Since I started doing my gratitude, by the way, it's like you get into a certain zone where you're colliding with more
Yes.
things to be grateful for. So I always ensure I do my gratitude. And then once I'm done with that, my day starts. So I exercise. I don't do very vigorous exercise. I just do something that can make my heart pump and push blood in my head. So that's just aerobics I do in the
Yes.
house. And then I take my warm water. I go sit outside and just listen to the birds. By that time, it's around 4:30. It's still dark. It's around
Mm.
4:35 a.m. So I just sit
Mhm.
outside, listen to the birds, wait for the sun to come up, as I think to myself, as I imagine how
Yes.
my day will be. That is I already have a calendar, but I'm imagining what are the amazing things that could happen today. How would it feel? And then I just
Yeah.
envision it and sit there with my thoughts, think about how the week has been or the day before. What is it I'll do different today? Yesterday, what is it that I missed? I just do an analysis. And then I come in, do breakfast, prepare for kids to go to school, and my day starts. But what makes it possible for me to keep track and to continue is a scheduling system. A simple Google Calendar where I have scheduled every single moment, time to drink tea, time to take a glass of water, and it comes as a meeting alert. For me, I've intentionally put that for every day. And then weekends, I have a whole chunk of time where I need to talk to my siblings. It's intentional. So I get that
Wow.
reminder, I call them and we chat endlessly for like an hour and catch up, what's happening, how are your kids, so that I'm intentionally, like I'm very intentional with my time. And
Yeah.
that has allowed me to balance it out so that at around 5 p.m. in the evening, I've started to slow down. I need to do homework probably with the child so that by 6 we are done with that and they can go do their thing and I can start doing my evening consultancies. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So
Beautiful, Alice. It's
yeah,
clear to me that the next level on purpose demands intentionality.
yeah.
You have to be very intentional with your time. You have to be
Mm.
very intentional, even with your relationships, right? You
Yes,
have to be
yes.
very intentional with your faith. You have to be
Mm,
very intentional with your finances. You have to be
mm,
very intentional even with your philanthropic efforts. And I
yeah.
wanted to talk a little into philanthropy right now because I know that's an area that is very important to you as we wind down our conversation. And I want to
Mm,
hear from you, Alice, because one of the things I know about the ladies I work with, and especially you having been my very first client, you
mhm,
talked to me about the importance of philanthropy in your life. And you kept
mhm,
saying to me, Joanne, I have to give. My business, whatever it does, it has to give. And I have seen it. But I
mhm.
want you to tell our listeners and our audience, talk to us about the importance of philanthropy and what philanthropic efforts your business is involved in right now.
Okay. So, my purpose in life is to help women create wealth. That
Yes.
is why God created me. And
Ooh,
that
clarity
is,
of purpose
yes,
is there.
yes,
Yes.
that is my purpose. But
Yes.
then, as much as I'm focusing on women to create wealth, there are those who cannot even, like they need more than the information on how to save. They need to start from a point of, okay, how do I start making $1? There are those who live among us. And then there's the gap I'm seeing in the future. We might end up with people who are now youth who have no clue where they're heading because there's somebody somewhere who's not doing their job. Either the parent is too busy, so they're not being nurtured, or the people they're interacting with are not giving them the right guidance they need so that they can leverage their skills and their opportunities. So the second philanthropic focus for me intentionally is youth. Why I'm doing this is because I intentionally said and purposed in my life every single amount of money that I make in my business, because it's a purpose driven business, 30% of that amount goes for philanthropy. So that has been structured in such a way that it goes either to women programs or women and widows, or it goes to youth programs. Then when I was starting small, like probably I only have $50 to pay for transport to go to some orphanage in Maralal, for instance. And I'm going to
Right.
that orphanage to talk to these kids, sit with them for like 10 days, impact them with business skill, change their mindset, show them as much as you're an orphan, you're able to become something. And this is how you'll do something with yourself. And then after 10 days, I come back. So I count that time for me, as I told you. Everything is intentional. So I count the time, how much would I have made per day, and then I've given it to this. And for me, I'm counting it as a in corporate we call it CSR. In business world, we might say it's philanthropy or givings or tidings, whatever name you want to give it. But for me, it's very intentional. And once I started doing it, that's how the other partners came on board. Because someone would hear, there's this lady who just decides and closes shop and goes and starts serving people, and she wants nothing in return. And they're like, okay, how can we partner? We have these funds. Can we structure a program? And then we do this for this region. There are those who want to do medical care. There are those who want to support women. For example, the program I'm doing with the US Embassy, it's basically them seeing my philanthropy work and then saying, you have business skills, you're a business consultant, are you able to come and train women? We will fund it. And then they look at the budget that they have and we agree, and then they bring the women. So you find in a year we do close to around 200, 300 women who are being trained, but it's being funded by now this embassy department. And then I'm bringing my skills. And many other foundations that I've worked with. It's more synergies, collaborations, and it is my purpose meeting other connections out there to serve. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That is
so I think it's important to give so that it comes back. Like it's,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's a ripple effect, isn't it? Like,
it is.
The more we pour into others, the more God blesses us, the more opportunities come into us. So 30% is very generous, and kudos to that, Alice. So as we come to the last couple of questions that I want to ask you, Alice, I want to hear from you. I know you have a wealth of experience. You really have studied and done so many things. But what are 3 resources that you'd recommend to our listeners? They could be books, they could be, materials that you've read or listened to that you like, but could be, it's up to you. What are 3 resources that you've listened to or had in the last few months that you're like, is golden, or in the last year, this is so powerful, and you'd want to share with the ladies? And maybe some few gents listening.
Okay. So the first 3 books I'd say, there's one book called You Were Born to Make Money. Is it You Were Born to Make Money, or You Were Born Not to Die
You're
Poor?
born rich. You're born
You
rich.
Were Born Good. You Were Born Rich.
Yeah. By
You
Bob
Were Born
Proctor.
Rich. Bob Proctor is a Bible around money, and it is it's one of those books you don't read to finish. You read for revelation and for understanding. And then as you continue applying, understanding how money works and everything, it changes your money realm. The second book I like is Atomic Habits. It's a recent read for me. And it's basically focusing on compounding activities, small, tiny pieces of activities in your life. Over time, they compound into something big. So it could be a new habit that you will create and say, every time I go to the washroom, I will do 2 squats. Every time.
Yes.
I'll just do 2 squats. I can't exercise. I can't find it in my time. Every time I use the bathroom, I'll do 2 squats. Over the year, you'll have done 365 times 2 squats. So it's just compounding. Every time I wake up, I'll take a glass of water. And then you'll have drunk a glass of water every day. So it's just, it's an amazing book. I love the Atomic Habits. And then the one thing that gave me a true north is Essentialism. There's a book called Essentialism. Essentialism is on a different level. What is essential in your life? Have you figured it out? What is important? And then align your life around that so that you avoid distractions. So those are the 3 books I'd share. In terms of other nuggets, I'd say be intentional on podcasts you listen to. Schedule time to listen to podcasts that are aligned to where you want to go. And then avoid sitting on people's timelines online. Create your content, go online intentionally, share what is aligned to who you want to be or what you want to be known for. And then that time of sitting and reading people's conversation, use it to enrich yourself.
Yes.
Yes, yes. That's
That
what
is
I'm
so
saying.
powerful. I always tell my clients that you should be more of a creator than a consumer,
A consumer, true.
right? You
Yes,
should be a creator. Spend
not a
less time
consumer.
consuming.
Mm,
You need to, what you're learning, do not hold it.
yeah.
Use it, because people are just hoarders of information. They're listening to this podcast, reading all these books, getting all this information, but doing nothing with it. And you said something that I love. You said read for revelation and understanding. But I'll also add read for revelation and understanding, but also for you
Apply.
to pour out, exactly,
Yes,
to
apply it.
apply,
Yes.
right? Because you
Yeah.
can get all this information, but if you're not using it, it's really wasted.
Useless.
It's really
Yeah.
wasted. It's
Yeah.
useless. It's for nothing. So I just
Mm.
want to reiterate the three books that she read. She said, I love them all. I have read them all. You're Born to Be Rich, or You're Born Rich by Bob Proctor is,
Mm.
as she said, a Bible around money. It's not a book that you just read and consume. She also talked about Atomic Habits, which we studied in a book club that I ran for my membership, the Dear
Uh,
Sister Circle, called Atomic Habits. It's by James Clear, an
yes.
absolutely wonderful resource. And then the third book that she shared with us is Essentialism. I forget the author, but it's another phenomenal book that really shows you what really is essential, what really matters. So,
Mm.
Alice, as we come to the tail end of our conversation, as we wrap this up,
Mm.
I want to ask you, what's next for you? We've talked about that journey through the 5 years.
Yes.
Share with me, share with our listeners, what does the journey in the next 5 years ish, look
Mm-hmm.
like for you? Where do you see yourself in 2026, Alice?
Okay. So in 2026, I'm reading a book called Do the Hard Things. Have you read Do the Hard Things?
Not yet, but I will look
Not
it
yet.
up.
Okay. So doing the hard things is a CEO's manual on how to run an idea business all the way until you IPO it. Okay. So it's the crisis you face, it's the kind of board meetings you need to have, it's the relationships you need to build, it's the people management and employee relations you need to do. So for me, because I'm seeing in my vision, I'm seeing my business growing globally, and the levels I'm seeing it going, I need to have ingrained in myself that level of thinking. Okay. So I'm looking at Alice becoming the next Jeff Bezos. So
Ooh, I
how
love
will
it.
I be thinking? Who will I be talking to? How will I be managing my clients, my employees, my partners? What kind of crisis management skills will I need when I'm faced with a crisis? Who will be my company secretary? Who will that's what I'm working towards. That's where I'm seeing my business going in the next 5 years. And as you said, I dare to dream and actualize. And I want to do the hard things.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You want to do the hard things, you want to dare, and you want to actualize.
Yes.
Alice, I'm winding this up. And I want to thank you so very much for not only being my first client, but honoring me on my podcast, right?
I'm
Being here
honored.
to share with us, so clearly what it means to move into the next level on purpose.
Mm.
Alice's information will be shared in the show notes. Please make sure you follow her on social media. Make sure you contact her. Make sure you get to know her a little more, because I can tell you for a fact that this is a woman that you need to watch out for. World, watch out, because this girl, where she's going, this young lady, she is definitely a trailblazing professional woman who is going to rock the world in the financial sector, in the economic sector. You, Alice, are a person to be reckoned, not to be reckoned with. And I'm here to support you. as
Thank
you move to
you.
the next level. So thank you so much for being with us. And Alice,
Mhm.
one sentence that you would want us to end this podcast with, to the ladies listening, that saying to themselves, I want to move to the next level on purpose. Give them just one word of advice. What would you tell them? That if you're sitting on your deathbed and you're like,
Mhm.
this is the last message I want to give us that word, Alice.
The one word I'd want to say is choose. Choose yourself. Choose yourself and decide this is who you're going to become, and then commit to hold on, to continue, regardless of how hard it becomes. Continue choosing yourself. Love yourself. Take care of yourself.
Wow.
Choose you. Become you.
Choose you, become you. Thank you, Alice Michira. It has been a delight having you on the podcast. I
Thank
cannot wait
you.
to have you again and again. Thank you, Alice. And
Thank you,
definitely
Joanne.
see
It's
you
always a
in
pleasure.
and around the streets of our beautiful podcast, the Next
Mhm.
Level on Purpose podcast. Thank you, Alice. Bye.
Thank you.